My name is Kayla Collin, and I'm a design and innovation teacher. This last year, my role as a teacher changed quite a bit. I went from being a self-contained classroom teacher that was heavily integrating STEM and project-based learning, and took all those tools and all those trainings with me into this role where my classroom is actually a design lab. I have all the way from pre-kindergarten and up to 8th grade that come into the lab. Last year, I got my master's in STEAM curriculum and development because I just fell in love with teaching STEM project-based learning. I went to the Nueva Institute of Design Thinking and was trained in this process. So there's a lot of questions that go in with this role and this classroom and what I do and what's in this space. And so I want to start by answering a few of those by doing a quick tour of my classroom, which is my design lab. Restructured and organized this space this summer. I did a lot of thinking around safety and placement and organization of the tools and material because, like I mentioned, I have all the way from 4-year-old to 14 and 15-year-olds that use the same space. Beautiful pipe and wood shelves that I found on Craigslist, and this is where you essentially find any of your typical classroom supplies like markers, pencils, scissors, glue. One tool that we have in here that we end up using a lot are our canary cutters, and essentially it has the blade of like a butter knife, but it's what we use to cut cardboard. And we do a lot of cutting and gluing of cardboard in here. So we also have different hot glue guns. I have 2 different types. The smaller hot glue guns don't get as hot. I mean, you can even touch the tip when they're hot and it won't even burn you. So this is what we start off with our younger students, and then we work up to our larger hot glue gun. This is the front of my classroom where I have my smart board, but also if you've been following me for a while, you've seen these antique apple boxes in lots of my classroom, whether it's been for shelving or seating. Well, this year is to help store projects, because one of the biggest problems with a space like this that the whole school is using and kids are coming in and out is just storage. Boxes are kind of more for bigger projects that kids are in the middle of. It's one place that they can store and organize their stuff. On this side of the classroom is where we have all our electronics, and it's where the focus is a lot on digital design. So on this table, we have the Cricut Maker and we have the Cricut Explore Air 2. This isn't digital design, but we also have our sewing machine and all our hand sewing material all along here. And then we have our 3D pen. In these boxes, I have 6 different sets of 3D pens that the student can be able to use. And what I love about it is having the students start with an actual manual 3D pen allows them to be able to do the layering themselves and critically think about what turns something from 2D to 3D before they upgrade up to the 3D printer. All right, along this section, we have 3 other machines that we love using. These 3 machines are all digital design. So we have iPads as well as MacBooks. We use the iPads for things like the Cricut, but we use the MacBooks for these 3 machines. We have the Makerbot, which is a 3D printer, and the kids use Tinkercad with it. And then we have a Carvey, which is essentially a drill bit that you take any digital design that you've made and it carves it into different wood and plastic materials for you. This machine back here is probably my favorite. It's our laser cutter. All right, in order to cross our safety zone right here, this yellow and red line, this is where the students have to have an authorized adult with them. It's one-on-one. They also have to have all loop clothing and hair pulled back, no jewelry, safety glasses, ear protection on, so all the things I'm not doing right now. But don't worry, because none of the machines have the keys in them. We have the drill press in here. We have a bandsaw, we have a miter saw, we have the sander. So this is where our bigger power tools are. All types of prototyping happens in the lab, whether it's low fidelity prototyping all the way up to high fidelity. So where we keep our low fidelity prototyping material are in the 2 carts that are on wheels. This side has anything that's made of metal. On this side, we kind of have random arts and crafts like fabric, pipe cleaners, rubber band. Here's our most used one, as you can tell, because it's the least organized. But this is the one that has anything that's like paper, cardboard, wood. And so a lot of low fidelity prototyping happens with cardboard. And on the flip side of this one is anything that's made from plastic. On this side wall is where we have all our hand tools. We also have an iron for the Cricut vinyl the students use. We have hammers, we have saws, we have wrenches, any kind of hand tools. And they're put on magnetic strips, so it's easy for the student to be able to know right where it goes and put it back. This is also where we have our sink and our eye washing station and a lot of our safety and cleaning supplies. On this table is where you'll find all our hand power tools, such as the drills and the hand sanders. Students, especially from 5th grade and up, are trained in these tools, but once again, they're different safety procedures that they follow, like they have to check them out with one of the authorized adults, and that adult has to be with them one-on-one. Also have to store all the larger materials, like the big pieces of wood and cardboard. So there are 2 different ways that we store that. One way is we have all the long pieces of wood up above. This is another way that we store some of the bigger material. And I don't really love the way this looks. I definitely want to think of some more creative, cleaner looking organization tips. But we have this cart right here that is on wheels, that we have all our bigger pieces of wood and cardboard. And then in these tubes over here, we have our different PVC pipes and different tubing. Like I mentioned, one of the biggest problems with this space is lack of space for different material. So up above me, you'll see like one of the ways that we've started to organize extra tools and materials that we're not using at the moment, but we also have a ladder and they're really easy to take down. I have the smart board at the front of the room, but in terms of whiteboards, I have 2 of these double-sided whiteboards that are on wheels. I really love that I can move them around because I may have information on one whiteboard for one class that needs to stay there until the next day, but when another class comes in, I can just flip it around and have a clean slate. So you'll notice a lot of the stuff in the design lab has wheels on it. It's easy to move, it's easy to access, and as the classes are coming in and out throughout the day, I'm constantly moving even furniture around. We start every single class period in community circle, where we move these stools into the middle of the classroom in a circle, and we get a chance to just share and connect with each other before we disperse and start working on our project. So these tables are not on wheels, but they have pads on the bottom that help me be able to slide them around. And then we have 30 of these stools that are easy to stack up and move around as well.